Happy Saturday morning, 4's Company, 102.5, 106.3. The game, the gang is back together this weekend. Jake Lyman, Nick Frazier, Connor Newt, Jake Wallman, all four of us are here today. 4's Company is brought to you by LPL Financial Nashville and Patrick Conger. Financial planning for tomorrow so that you can enjoy today. And yes, if you're watching this
color, but
I didn't think of the logistics of putting this on while I have a headset on. Let's do it quickly here.
The drum roll. There it is.
look,
How
sun's
about it?
purple.
Yeah, there we go. Sun's
We're
purple.
the Suns.
Yes, we are the Suns
We're
or Clemson.
The Phoenix Suns. I almost said Brooklyn. Like, what am I doing?
The Brooklyn Suns.
The Brooklyn Suns.
It's like the Utah Jazz.
They don't know what they are.
Yes. But yes, we got the nice hats on here. Thanks to LPL Financial Nashville and Patrick Conger. Appreciate Dr. Crane bringing those in for us today.
No problem, as I grabbed them from my totaled car. So I was like, well, let me just collect my belongings.
You're gonna have to fill me in. I've been out a while. I went skydiving and Rocky Mountain climbing. So
It must have been a blast. I'd rather have done that than what I've experienced the last 2 weeks.
let me know if you don't get that reference.
Oh, I get it.
There you go.
I got you. No, I just somebody got into an accident with me. They kind of swerved into my lane, and I'll tell you more stuff off the air. But long story short, his car drove away after the police report, and then my car was totaled. Looked at it, tried to state my case. They're calling it even, meaning just
What'd you
brush
get?
away.
A hot dog and a handshake for it?
They gave me I wouldn't say a hot dog, but they gave me a luxurious hot dog. Let's put it that way.
There we go.
Yep.
Like you got all the fixings on it there.
Yep. With a little relish.
Yeah, loaded
mustard.
up. Some
Are you
onions on there.
on Team How Gill, where you don't put ketchup on a hot dog? Because I oppose that heavily.
I don't know. It depends. I feel like if you grill the hot dog, it deserves every right of every sort of condiment on possibility.
Yeah, I'm not a huge condiment. I'm big onions on a hot dog though.
Okay,
I'll do onions.
I just do ketchup and mustard. That's it.
Yeah.
I don't do relish. I don't do any of that.
There's not really a bad way to do it.
Is a hot dog a sandwich?
Yes. Is that our question of the day?
No.
I don't know if I'd call it a sandwich.
I'm not sure how much interaction we'd get on that question of the day.
Have you ever put jalapenos on a
I have had.
Yeah.
hot
Well,
dog?
I forgot about this. Chili dogs.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
where it's at.
Yeah.
Steal. Yep. I'm in for that. When I was a kid, I used to go to Sonic and I used to get like the footlongs.
Yeah.
You won't believe what an 8-year-old Nick Frazier used to put down back in the day.
I feel like
2 footlongs. I was able to eat them, and I'm like, wow.
I
look
could
at
eat
me.
way more when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I would put away like a whole pizza at a time.
I can
Can't do that
I can
anymore.
I can do that.
I could if I really tried, but I don't do that anymore.
Do I feel fat afterwards? Yeah.
Yeah.
But can I
feels
do it?
gross.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It took us 3 minutes to get completely off the rails this morning.
Thanks for tuning into Sports Talk Radio. Today,
Yes.
everyone.
Yeah. Lots of sports talk in the first 4
It was
minutes
only
of the
fitting for
show.
my grand return.
Yes. We got the gang back together and we went on a tangent very, very fast. Good show coming up. We're going to talk some NFL, look back at the Super Bowl from last weekend, and look ahead at the 2025-26 NFL season. Hockey later on in the show. We're not going to talk a whole lot of Preds, but we're going to talk about the Four Nations face-off. Big games today. The early game has a lot of Predators ties with Sweden and Finland facing off. And then later on, of course, the border war. Is that what we could call it? Canada and
The
USA?
Tariff War? Can we call it that?
I guess so. You can call it the 51st State War.
Yeah, there you go.
We
Yeah.
can do that.
Yeah.
What Joe say yesterday?
Oh, yeah. There are no tariffs on these goals. Listen, if
Yeah,
U.S. wins today, Canada is the 51st state of America.
Yeah. Yep.
Those are the rules.
I think that's the rules. That's
Those-
how hockey
especially
works.
beating them in their own sport.
And
So,
we can claim hockey as an American sport.
right.
Bingo.
Right. And then we'll wrap up the show later on talking about a big day of college basketball. In-state rivalry later on. Vanderbilt, Tennessee. We're leading you right up to pregame coverage with Kevin Ingram and Tim Thompson from Knoxville. And also, number 1 versus number 2, the Iron Bowl. Auburn and Alabama squaring off later on this afternoon, too. But first, let's get to our headlines. Connor Newt, since you're making your triumphant return, why don't you lead us off?
Yeah. Well, I've been out a while. I mean, I have seen Kentucky sweep Tennessee. Since the last time I've been on the air, Kentucky has beat Tennessee 2 times. That's my shot for the day.
Wow.
I mean, I was at Raw the other day. That was awesome. Shout out to Sean Fort for making that happen. It looked grim for a little bit, but I was out there and it was a good time with me, our friend Christian Skelton, and then To my right, of course, tribal chief and
The suit.
his wise man, Ricky Merritt. But that's not my headline. I hope I'm not stealing anyone's headline.
No.
Texas A&M.
I
Maybe-
thought about talking
Maybe
about this
just
one.
Adidas in general releasing maybe the worst uniforms that have ever been created.
They are horrible.
They look like Premier League soccer kits, but worse. Texas A&M looks like T-Mobile. Like it's just the T and so bland. They're gray, which I'm not opposed to gray jerseys, but oh my goodness. Kansas did it. It's just their primary logo. Indiana was rocking them rocking is a stretch, but it was their crimson and it literally just had the Indiana logo on the left breast. And then down diagonally, it's a number.
It's so weird. It looks like a baseball uniform.
It looks like a practice jersey.
Right. And I mean, it looks like they gave a 7-year-old a controller, sent him into the NBA 2K uniform builder and said,
I think my sister
Whatever
could
you
design better jerseys than that.
I mean,
Like,
it was awful.
I thought they looked like prison yard uniforms. I'm not gonna lie. I really did.
It's like a
You know,
WNSL or something.
you know,
like
in the
that.
like longest yard with Adam Sandler, and
Yeah.
they're playing basketball, and the guys in the prison yard are wearing just like the blue sweatsuit. That's what it gave me the vibe.
You know, in MLB The Show, all the teams have like the BP.
Yeah, the batting practice jerseys.
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
Yeah. And speaking of uniforms, baseball uniforms are back to normal, thankfully.
Thankfully.
Yes.
After last year's horrific Fanatics
See-through.
Oh,
jerseys where the pants were ripping and they were see-through and the tiny numbers.
saw a little too much of some people.
Yes. But man, awful Texas A&M jerseys.
Oh my god, like that may be up there for the worst uniform of all time.
Yeah, it's I can't really think of anything that rivals it right now.
I mean, I can think of some from right now. Absolutely not. I can think of some from like the early 2000s NBA.
Oh yeah, I'm sure there's some bad ones out there, but man, that one's horrible.
It's so bad.
Horrible. Nick Frazier, what's your headline?
I have a quick laundry list here. So first off, Luke Littler won
There it
week
is.
2 of the Premier League of Darts yesterday, which is pretty cool. Had 2 days ago, had a 170. They call that in slang big fish. Triple 20s twice, and then a bullseye to win. And he did the little reel it in and reel it back. It was pretty cool. There's that. Baseball back in full swing. Like you were talking about spring training. Vandy played last night in the, I think, Desert Invitational.
Yep, got to win.
Yep, won 4-3. They were in full command, I think, for the first 4 innings or so. And then, one run came through for Grand Canyon. Another one came through. It came down to the 9th inning, but they were able to close it out, 4-3 win. So that was a fun one to watch. Let's see what else. Oh, the NRL Week 2 preseason is underway. Watched a little bit of that before I went to bed last night. And then week 1 of that season
and that was
starts
3 a.m.
No, it was 9:30. Their preseason,
Ah.
it's normally during the middle of the day for them.
My
around 3
bedtime
o'clock.
now, apparently.
Yeah, not too shabby. Not too shabby. But I will say at the last part of my headline, since the NRL season is coming up, I would like to pose a question towards all of you. Pick at least one team out of the NRL this season to follow.
I already picked mine. The Manly
Yeah,
Sea
that's mine too.
Eagles.
Okay,
Is
so
that
y'all are
it?
the manly people.
Yes.
It's Wallman that has to pick. Okay, perfect.
I will be doing my research later after the show.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll give you a
cool.
list.
The Ballyhoos are a good team.
Yeah.
Look them up.
No, I
The Rapidos.
it is the Sea Eagles.
Yeah,
The Manly Sea Eagles. It's just a great name.
Why aren't they just the Seagulls?
No.
Because Sea Eagles is cool.
Yeah, Seagulls.
What is a sea eagle versus a seagull?
It's like an
Is
eagle.
it kind
but
of like the
at sea.
Seahawk?
Yeah, I'd say it's like a hawk that flies over the Australian beaches, probably. So, seagull.
The Manly Sea Eagles.
Sea
We
Eagle.
will be locked in for some NRL action.
See, love that.
And you mentioned Vandy baseball. They've got games all weekend, taking on Nebraska later today, right here on the game, 6:30 pregame. And Vandy men's basketball, as I mentioned, against Tennessee right after us. My headline, Alex Bregman
It's okay.
There it is.
signed with the Boston Red Sox on, was it Wednesday night?
Yeah,
when it came
Wednesday to
through.
Thursday, yeah.
Tough. But I just wanted to use my headline to give a quick shout out to Pizza Boy, Chris Illich. He ponied up. He offered 6 years, $171.5 million, made the offer, showed that the ownership is backing the Detroit Tigers to try and get back to a winning culture. I'm okay with it.
I'm mad at Alex Bregman.
I'm not.
He cost me food.
Yeah.
Oh,
That is an
for
issue.
what?
I was promised $25 worth of Little Caesars.
For me, I wasn't bringing it in here. I was going to order it the night that he signed and have it for dinner. I wasn't bringing it in here.
Well,
What are we going to have?
That's what
Crazy
he-
puffs
That's what
at
he thinks.
Crazy puffs at 9:15 in the morning.
He
That's
didn't know
the
what we're
breakfast of
at.
That's what he
champions right
thinks.
there.
Yeah, nutrition is going to be crazy puffs and a $5 hot and ready.
It's gonna be awesome.
We're giving off
And a
free
Mountain
ads
Dew.
right now.
There you go.
But yes, the Tigers made a valiant effort, and Scott Harris, the Tigers GM, said it best yesterday. This roster made the postseason last year without Alex Bregman and beat a team that had Alex Bregman on it, so it can be done. And we'll see what happens. Can't wait for baseball season. Opening day is 6 weeks away, right
Yeah.
around there.
Give or take.
So excited for that. Jake Wallman, wrap us up with your headline this morning.
So my headline actually is baseball, but it's not the Vols getting a 15-0 win over Hofstra yesterday. It is the Atlanta Braves put out a press release earlier this week for the fans, and it was all about fan engagement and stuff. And I skimmed through it, and this is the paragraph that grabbed my attention and is this week's headline. All the network's Braves games and programming will also stream on the FanDuel Sports Network app and at FanDuelSportsNetwork.com. Fans can access Braves content through the app either by authenticating through a pay TV provider or for the first time ever, this is the kicker right here, by subscribing directly to the app for $19.99 a month.
Ooh,
That's not bad.
it's a little steep.
But
It's less than $1.
do you want to
Yeah,
pay for your do you want to pay to watch the Tigers?
I do pay to watch the Tigers.
Okay, well that's a bad question then. I don't want to pay to watch. If I want to watch the Braves, I feel like I should be able to, turn the TV on, find the channel, and there it is.
I can think of some ways you can do that.
Well,
They're
yeah,
not legal.
yeah.
I mean, that's
Well,
that's a
we
better
can't highlight those.
that's a better deal than what I pay. I mean, I'm paying $150 a year for MLB TV. So if I watched every Tigers game, it would be a little under $1 a game. For Braves, there's 6 months of baseball in the regular season.
$120.
You know when I watch
it's
the
a little better
Cardinals?
deal.
You know when I watch the Cardinals? When they're on national television. That's
Really?
how bad
That
they
used to be what it
and
was.
it's not
for
going to be
me.
much this year. I'll tell you that.
They're like the Dallas Cowboys when it comes to national televised games. They're only going to be on for Cubs and Cardinals and maybe another.
Sunday night baseball on ESPN.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
It's unfortunate.
The
Yeah, I mean-
occasional Fox game.
I can't believe I'm comparing the Cardinals to the Cowboys.
Yeah, God.
Just,
What are we doing,
disgraceful.
man?
I don't know.
It is tough though, Jay. I get it because it's like there are some of these teams that are putting their games on like a cable television network, which would be great.
Yeah,
But they got to make money somehow.
I guess that's what the world's all about. The almighty dollar.
It
You're
is.
right. But-
it is.
I mean, you want to grow the game. They talk about growing the game, and then it's like, oh, but you got to pay that subscription first.
Yeah.
That's how every sport is, though.
Yeah. It's I was talking with David James, our friend, about it. That apparently like the FanDuel sports bundles that you can buy, you can't get Grizzlies and Preds in the same one.
Yeah.
It's like you can either get Grizzlies, Atlanta Dream, and the Reds, and then you can get the Braves, the Preds, and the Atlanta Hawks or something like that. Like it's just weird that you can't get both Tennessee teams. In
even
one.
nationally, like if you buy the NBA League Pass, you can watch every team but the Grizzlies.
Right,
and the
because
Hawks
it,
here.
yeah,
It's blackout.
yeah, the blackout rules that we could spend.
That's another one.
We
that
could
really
spend
pisses
30
me
minutes
off.
on blackout rules because it makes no sense. Connor Newt, you have our question of the day today.
Sure.
What are we asking?
It's a rainy day, so I turned on some music this morning, and I'm not going to give you my answer because that's for the second hour. But I mean, I was listening to an album, and I was like, man, every single song on this album is no skip. So my question is, what's your no skip album? What's an album you throw on and you just power through, start to finish, no skips on the album?
Oh, I could really make somebody mad with my answer. We'll see it.
There's no wrong answer.
No, there's an answer that would get a certain someone calling in if they were listening.
Oh, I know where you're going.
But we'll see. We'll
Right.
give our answers at 10 o'clock. But that's a good question from Connor Newt. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. You can text or call. Our phone line's driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Send us your answer. What is an album that you listen all the way through? There's no skips. Every song you listen all the way through. And again, we'll get to our answers at 10 o'clock, but we'd love to hear from you. Coming up, we're going to get into the NFL a little bit, talk about the Super Bowl, the Eagles beating the Chiefs on Sunday night, and who are some contenders to look out for next year as we head into the NFL offseason. That's up next. We're off and rolling here on 4's Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Tune in to 93.3 FM Totally Hits Nashville tonight for MTSU men's basketball. The Blue Raiders take on Western Kentucky. 100 miles of hate.
Woo!
Correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Tip off at 7. Pregame begins with Chip Walters at 6:30. Coverage also available on the Totally Hits Nashville app and at totallyhitsnashville.com. 4's Company, Jake Lyman, Nick Frazier, Connor Newt, Jake Wallman with you. A reminder, our question of the day today, Connor Newt wants to know, what is an album that you play all the way through? No skips.
No skips. Nothing.
We'll give our answers coming up at the top of the 10 o'clock hour. But first, let's get into the Super Bowl, guys. I thought I was going to go 3 for 3 on my picks when we got tails on the coin toss. First touchdown, Jalen Hurts, but I had the Chiefs to win, so did not get that one right. Eagles dominating that game. It was what, 31-0, 34-0 at one point?
40-6 at one
Yeah,
point.
I mean, it was never close. I kept kind of waiting for a Falcons-Patriots type comeback from Mahomes.
I didn't feel safe.
But it just never got it never even got close to that.
Yeah, it was. I mean, this was one of those games. I think I told you last week live from Rupp Arena that this was the least excited for a Super Bowl I've ever been. It didn't live up to that. I still left feeling just empty. Like, I was happy more importantly, I was happy the Chiefs lost, but like, at what cost? I didn't really want to see AJ Brown get a ring. I don't like the Eagles, so I don't really want to see them win. I like Jalen Hurts. That's about it. But, I didn't feel anything. It didn't do anything for me.
Yeah, I don't know if it's the atmosphere of where the Super Bowl was played, because, like, for me, I'm all about the bright colors when it comes to the Super Bowl. It just puts me in a happy mood.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is. But also, like, when it was out in Arizona when they played in Super Bowl 57, there was just something about that game. I was like, this is it. And then you go down to the New Orleans, you're like, yeah, it's the Super Bowl, but like he's saying, there's something missing. I don't know if it was the halftime show. I don't know if it was the national anthem.
Did you like the halftime show?
I was in. Listen, I didn't know the whole backstory with the Drake.
I thought the end was really good.
I hated it.
I can't really remember the end.
I hated it. I thought it was terrible.
The first 5 minutes I couldn't get into, and I'm not a huge Kendrick guy. Like, I know a couple of his songs, but like, I wasn't super into it. But not like us. I thought was pretty good.
That was good. I liked SZA.
Was good. SZA was good too.
With
having
Black
Serena
Panther
Williams
song.
out there.
That I didn't like that.
I was
thought it
kind
was
of
funny.
That was interesting. I didn't like, again, all these small little drops and hints of stuff. I just didn't I initially didn't catch on to. Like, and the thing that really got me, it was kind of funny. It wasn't actually watching the Super Bowl. It was the reaction to it. I filled in for Ian. I think it was on Monday. And Jared asked me, he goes, "Who was that girl on stage with Kendrick?" I was like, "Oh, you mean SZA?" He goes, "Who is that?" I was like, "I don't know. I just know her name is 3 letters."
Jared's so funny that I feel like he figures out music like 7 or 8
He's
years
an old
after
man.
it happens. Like Barry Trotz saying that he listens to Noah Khan, and
Jared didn't know.
Jared was like, "I don't know who that is, but I hear a lot of people like him." I believe Jared's exact words were, "I don't know who he is, but every time he plays a concert, every woman on Instagram posts him on their story."
That's valid.
Which
That's
is true.
valid.
It is true. I didn't think it was one of the best halftime shows ever. I don't think it was one of the worst halftime shows ever.
I say this is, I'm not a huge rap guy in general.
Yeah.
I thought Dr. Dre was awesome. Like
I thought that one was really cool.
That was one of the best ever. But like Kendrick just didn't do it for me. Maybe I'm biased. Like, I don't really like rap. I like older music.
Yeah.
So
me and Connor were talking during the Super Bowl, and we said that we agreed that this generation would be a lot more better off if they just listened to 90s country music and classic rock.
Yep.
You're not wrong.
Yep.
Well, and the Super Bowl, just to give my 2 cents, it put me in mind of the 2014 Super Bowl with Denver and Seattle, where there was a lot of buildup going into the game, and then Seattle just crushed them.
Punched them in the mouth.
But even that one, I feel like there was excitement leading into it because you had Peyton Manning coming off one of the best seasons by a quarterback ever, facing the Legion of Boom in their prime. Like, that was the best Legion of Boom season, obviously. They won the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
There was hype heading into that game. I feel like no one even cared about this Super Bowl. Everybody wanted Bills Commanders. That was America's Super Bowl. We didn't get it. And honestly, that I did not think about the Super Bowl until Sunday.
Yeah. I didn't really care. I mean, I didn't think about it either. I was in Lexington the day before, so my mind was on basketball.
Yeah.
And then we got in the car after the game and I looked at Dad. I said, I'm kind of dreading watching the Super Bowl because I don't really care.
Right.
I care from the aspect that it's football and it's the championship of the NFL and I love the NFL. But like it's two teams I'm not invested in. I don't want to see the Chiefs three-peat it. I don't really want to see the Eagles fans be happy because, I mean, look at what's going on with them right now. They can't handle it. So,
Yeah.
Two things. One, do you think the NFL should implement a third place game by chance?
No.
Kind of like what the World Cup does?
I kind of like the idea to have the bottom two teams play for the number one pick. Winner gets the number one pick.
I like that. I like that a lot. I feel like when you have a Super Bowl like this, you're thinking, yeah, like something like you guys are both saying, it's not it. It just didn't get the vibe. I feel like you got to twist it up a little bit because you look at soccer. I'm not trying to implement other sports, but like you look at soccer, you look at rugby, you look at, I don't know, golf in some regards. You have the playoff holes, you have the play-in games and so forth. I get that's what the playoffs are for, but you have also those final games like in the World Cup where you have the consolation game of who's going to get third place, who's going to get bronze.
Yeah.
I think that should be at least discussed in NFL meetings, in my opinion, because that would get me a little bit more intrigued. It would create more hype and build up for the Super Bowl, in my opinion. You could do it on like a Saturday when there's nothing going on. You call it Super Bowl weekend. Have a game on Saturday, have a game on Sunday.
Yeah.
Rule the whole weekend because that's essentially what the NFL wants to do. They want to rule Monday through Sunday.
They do.
So
it did hit me when the inactives came out. I was like, man, I wish the Titans would play in this game one day because I saw the inactives come out and it was like, man, I've never gotten to see Super Bowl inactives for the Titans. I don't know why at that moment that hit me. And honestly, at this point, how many years away do we think until the Titans could realistically compete for a Super Bowl? 4 or 5?
If that.
If they get a quarterback, who knows? But like, I'm not
years.
expecting to see the Titans
10?
competing.
Yeah,
Nah,
I'm just
you can't
hope.
say 10.
I've lost hope. I really have. I don't know if I'm just in this Titans denial. I really wish like this upcoming draft is vital. If they go and get an edge rusher, I'm cool with it. Like if they're able to get draft capital, my time frame goes down to about like 5, maybe 6 years.
I mean, I don't think I will see a Titan Super Bowl in my 20s. I'm 25 right now.
Yeah, I only got 4 years. Yeah, no.
By Frazier's logic, I won't either.
Yeah.
I have a question for you guys. Who reaches a world championship first right now? Our baseball teams or the Titans?
Like who just gets
who gets there
Tigers,
first?
Cardinals,
Braves.
Yeah.
Well, it ain't gonna be us. I'll tell you that.
I don't know.
We gotta
Really?
I would
You
say
got high hopes?
I have high hopes for the Cardinals to at least win a World Series within like 5 to 6 years.
I could see it.
I think it's better than
if
the
they
Titans
develop.
chance. Yeah.
They got to draft right. They got to get some stuff together.
I
And can see
agree.
it.
I think our 3 baseball teams all probably have a better chance to win one before the Titans do.
Making me feel good.
Braves are a contender right
Easy.
now.
Slow your roll.
Hey, you said cheer for the Braves last week,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
I'm.
that's his
did.
team now.
I did.
That's his thing.
Well, I mean, I've been cheering for the Braves, but like,
no, I
I mean,
know.
you know,
Go.
I'm on that train.
It's his number one. We're
Love
gonna
it.
see him repping that Navy every day.
Well, we've established that the Titans are not a contender for Super Bowl 60. Who is? We'll answer that question on the other side. 615-737-1025 is our phone number if you want to chime in. 4's Company, 1025-1063 The Game. The Game Nashville Sports Network is your home for NASCAR racing. Sunday, tune in for the Daytona 500 on Sports Talk 8:30 at 11:30 a.m. and on 102.5 The Game following the Vanderbilt baseball game. Coverage of the Daytona 500 is presented by Green Trees and thenewcumberland.com. Jake Lyman, Nick Frazier, Connor Newt, Jake Wallman with you, 4's Company. We're talking NFL. We have a Super Bowl champion in 2025. It is the Philadelphia Eagles. Who is going to compete next year? We did establish the Titans, not in that conversation, but we did just watch Cam Ward's film from the Pop-Tarts Bowl during the break there. I'm telling you, if that tape, if you haven't watched it and you're a Titans fan, go watch Cam Ward. There's a video on YouTube. Every throw Cam Ward made in the Pop-Tarts Bowl against Iowa State. He only played the first half. I can't use the words I described it during the break on the air, but it has turned me from anti-Cam Ward, and now if the Titans took him number 1 overall, I don't think I would complain.
I don't know. I just feel like, I don't know. I was listening to TD the other day. I feel like Shador, if you're going quarterback, is a better fit for what you need right now.
Yeah.
I think he's more NFL ready.
They're very different quarterbacks. Cam Ward has some Will Levis in him in terms of results.
Mm-hmm.
They don't play the same way, but in terms of results, it's high risk, high reward. Shador is a little bit different. Shador is the high processing, not going to make every throw, but man, Cam Ward, I'm telling you, go watch the video. If you're out there and haven't seen Cam Ward in the Pop-Tarts Bowl, it makes you see why he is being talked about as the number 1 overall pick. I still think we're not going to stick on this too long. But again, I think my favorite idea for the Titans is obviously trade down, get a haul of picks.
Yep.
But if you stick at 1, I think Cam Ward's the pick.
It's a good argument.
I'm a guy that likes defense, and I was leaning towards the whole Abdul Carter thing. Y'all know how much I love Photoshop. I was doing that little jersey swap. He's number 1 on my heart. Number 1 on my board.
If you trade back to 3 and take Carter, I think that is a perfect day at the office for you.
Mm-hmm.
If the Giants want to move up and take Sanders or Ward and you can get Abdul Carter at 3, sign me up. But I'd rather Cam Ward at 1. If you're sticking at 1, I think you take the quarterback.
Here's the thing. If they're going to trade down, it's going to be the Giants. I feel that in my heart.
I think so too. Because you wouldn't fall that far and you'd still probably get a first next year.
In my opinion, if you go with Cam Ward, this is the only comment I'll make on it for this segment. If you go with Cam Ward as a franchise, I think you're making more of a stronger commitment towards that draft pick rather than an Abdul Carter. Like, I think there's a little bit more room for error with Abdul Carter. I think just because of the severity of the quarterback position with the Titans in recent years, I think that's the big, putting more emphasis on that position. But for me, if you go Abdul Carter, it's the safe play. You're able to get your draft capital for years on end, and that's what the Titans need if you want to see them go to a Super Bowl within the next 5 to 6 years.
Yeah.
Or just be competing for it. Because if you go with Cam Ward and that offensive line is still the same offensive line as last year, or maybe a little bit better, I mean, you're just going to have, like I mentioned to you before a couple months ago, would you like to see a 7-9 Titans team? And you said yes. And that was about Shador Sanders, though. I'm just saying in general, like, would you be more enticed to watch a Titans team at 7-9? I mean, obviously
to watch it, yeah, but like I'm glad the Titans ended up with the number 1 pick instead of going 7-9,
right?
Or 7-10, or whatever it would be,
right? So then you're at the point now of like if they end up going 7-10,
I think 7-10 next year would honestly be a pretty good step.
I don't know. Yeah, it would be from a statistical standpoint on X's and O's, but I don't know. I don't see it.
Yeah, I think it's pretty clear the Titans are probably picking a right tackle with their second pick, but
yeah,
we'll see what they do at 1. We still got 2 months.
I just want to see worst or first to worst. That's exactly what I want to see.
Yeah,
I'm not. Listen, I love to build. I love being the construction guy of like you build from here to here to here. Phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. With the Titans, it has to go from 0 to 100, and that's what the fan base is like now. They're 0 to 100. I'm starting to twist in that direction. I'm sorry.
I feel safe with Borgonzito.
Yeah, I mean, I'm nothing against him. I'm just saying, like, for the whole team itself, they need to go from 0 to 100 this year.
Oh, yeah. You want to sell tickets to that stadium?
I
You
need
gotta
to
do
see
it.
improvements out of everybody.
which is why you're probably taking a quarterback.
Yeah.
Like if
yeah, you're
you,
probably right.
we saw it with the Commanders this year. That's the fastest way to turn things around. I think there's a chance they trade down, but as I've said on this show before, we're going to find out within probably the next month whether the Titans are going to trade down. I would bet, I said by St. Patrick's Day.
Mhm.
If the Titans still are holding the number 1 pick by St. Patrick's Day, I would almost guarantee that Cam Ward is going to be the pick in April.
Look at you, Barry Trotz, giving him a deadline.
I just
love it.
I think the Titans and whoever they're trading with would want to go through free agency and the last month before the draft knowing what pick they have.
It's true.
So we'll see. We got a long way to go. We got over 2 months until draft day. Long way to go. And
Over
I'm
2 months
sure-
before you have to watch that movie again.
Yes. the greatest bad movie of all time. That was our first ever question of the day, I think.
Was it? Yeah.
Yeah, because we came on. No. That was the second because our first show was the week before the draft.
April 20th.
Yes,
Great.
We're
memory.
coming up on a year, man.
I know.
Great. Memory.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah,
That is nuts.
A year.
yeah. Because
Of you putting up with me.
our first show was the one where we did the draft simulation.
Oh, yeah.
We'll run that back again
Oh,
this
yeah,
year.
you got to.
Yeah, I'll make some.
Kyler Murray.
Fake phone calls. Yeah, Kyler Murray.
Give it to me.
Speaking of which, we only got a couple minutes. So I was going to have us go through and draft our top 3 Super Bowl contenders for next year, but let's just do one. Let's go through the line one time here. Who is your way too early pick to win the Super Bowl? And you are not allowed to pick the same one. So once it's picked, it's off the board.
Okay.
Nick Frazier, you've got the first pick. Who's winning the Super Bowl in 2026?
The Buffalo Bills.
Ah, damn it.
I like it.
Sorry. Buffalo Bills.
I
It's
think
either that or somebody else.
I think they are going to offer the house for Myles Garrett. And I think that might be the missing piece for them.
There's something about Josh Allen I disliked at the beginning, and now I've gravitated of like maybe he is an okay quarterback because that was my thing. I was like very worried about. I don't think he's good with the ball in his hands. The ball security is not there for me.
Yeah.
And this year he's proved me wrong, and he's made every single player around him, wide receiver wise, into absolute all stars. So
Yeah.
kudos to Josh Allen.
All right. Nick Frazier's got the Bills in our way too early Super Bowl draft for Super Bowl 60. Jake Wallman, you've got the second pick.
I'm trying to decide which way I should go, AFC or NFC. And I'm going to go NFC, Washington Commanders.
Wow.
Whoa.
Jaden Daniels wins it in year 2.
Wow. I thought you were going Lions. I'm not going to lie to
No,
you.
I was actually going to go, if I went AFC, I was going to go with the Bengals.
Oh,
I was thinking Bengals too.
I'll go last, Connor. You got third pick here.
I'll take the Bengals.
Okay. Wow.
As long as Joe Burrow is on that team, they're going to perform. I think T. Higgins is gone, but I think they invest in the offensive line. I think they especially invest in their defensive line, build that up, get it going. I think they get back to the Super Bowl.
So we got Bills, Commanders, Bengals. No one's picked the defending champs. No one's picked the Chiefs. I'm not going to either, actually. We're gonna be really hot takey with this pick. The LA Chargers.
Oh, wow.
Jim Harbaugh.
I think
Jim
we
Harbaugh.
saw them take a big step forward with Harbaugh this year. I think they're going to build around Herbert a little bit more.
Got to get a receiver.
I was going to go chalk, but that's not what we're here to do. We're talking.
Well, here's the
We're
thing.
on Sports Talk
We're a
Radio.
year-
We're going hot take.
We're
LA
a
Chargers.
We're a year out.
Right. Who
It doesn't
knows?
matter. We'll forget about
Yeah,
this in
exactly.
2 weeks.
Unless the Chargers win it, then I'm going to have this
And
queued
we'll
up.
hear about it for the next 10 years.
Yes,
This man, Jack
you
Lyman,
will.
said Jim Harbaugh doesn't have any heart problems. He's good.
Nope.
He's going to coach.
Who's got it better than him?
Yeah.
Nobody.
Love it.
615-737-1025 is our phone number. If you want to chime in, you can text or call. Our phone line is driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Coming up next, after 2 weeks away, even though last week we got a semi-Newts Notes from Rupp
Semi.
Arena, we're
I've never
going to
been
get
a
our
calling guest on my own station.
yes,
That's really weird.
we're going to get a full Newts Notes for the first time in 3 weeks. Excited for that. That's up next on 4's Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. The original.
It's refurbished a little bit.
Yeah, I like it. 4's Company, Saturday mornings, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. It's time for Newt's Notes.
Okay. So there were some headlines made this week on an SEC broadcast. Believe it was Alabama and Texas playing. There was a bit of a commentary blunder. Carl Ravitch had some interesting comments that have made some headlines this week. This is what he had to say.
Hold on, I'm getting the clip.
Oh, okay. Well, Carl Ravitch was basically talking about the SEC and its league, how they've fared in play. And, without giving it away, he said basically something a lot of SEC fans will be pretty pissed about. So we have it now. Okay, here's what he had to say. Breaking news, guys. The SEC is 500 when they play each other.
Every time I hear it, it gets worse.
Like, how incompetent do you have to be to say,
oh, it's horrible,
it's not a dominant conference because they can't pull away?
No one's pulling away.
No one's pulling away.
Oh, my God.
Here's the thing. Every conference, there's a winner and a loser.
Yeah, there's a winner and a loser in every game. Strange how that works.
Did you guys see the picture this week?
Oh,
every conference.
Oh, yeah. It was
in college basketball is 500.
Breaking.
Some guy tweeted this out like 2 or 3 weeks ago, and he got
he was rage baiting.
He got Archie Miller at Rhode Island, who the head coach in his post-game press conference came out and said, the SEC is supposed to be the greatest conference ever, but look, since January 4th, they're 54-54 or something like that.
Here's where it gets worse. Carl Ravitch doubled down.
Yes, he did.
He tweeted out, and I quote, "Just landed and CX is on fire. Simple explanation. Tongue-in-cheek 82-82 record was to illustrate any night either team can win and one will. Clearly very poor execution on my part. It is amazing that Alabama and Auburn have only lost once in such a great conference. That's all. Breaking news. Also, one of those teams is going to lose today.
Right.
They play
one
each
versus
other.
2 in Tuscaloosa.
But to say that you're trying to illustrate any team can win is just wrong.
Right. South Carolina doesn't have a win in SEC
they're
play.
0-11 in SEC play.
Saying that it was tongue-in-cheek, like we just listened to that. He 100% was serious about that. There was no joking tone to his of, hey, guess what? The SEC's 500. Like, it wasn't joking. He 100% was serious, saying that no one's pulling away because they're 82-82.
And I'm not here to undermine Carl Ravitch as a broadcaster or question his ethics or whatever. I think he's a good broadcaster at times. But that was stupid.
Yeah.
That was dumb. Did you see Mark Pope the other day? They asked.
I thought this was really funny.
They asked Mark Pope jokingly.
Yeah.
They said, "What do you think of the disappointing start in the SEC at 500?" And Mark Pope, you see him smirk a little bit. He says, "I have never been more disappointed in a start to conference play.
He said we needed to pick it up.
We need to pick it up. We got to show we're dominant."
It's crazy how that has blown up. Like, I think for a second, when I saw the tweet about the SEC's only 500 in conference play, I was like, oh, wow, that's interesting. And I was like, oh, wait, yeah. Okay. It took me maybe 2 seconds to figure it out. To go through all of your prep, write that down, and actually say it on the air is, I don't understand how that got through. Because, again, Carl Ravitch is a talented guy. He's great on baseball, but I just don't understand how that got through to the air. Crazy.
If I'm Carl Ravitch, I'm praying for opening day immediately.
He tweeted again and said, like 4 hours.
Yeah, he said
later,
he was going to take the L.
Like, I'm taking the L in quotations. I'm like,
yeah,
I think it's a little late for that, pal.
Yeah.
Like,
the L is going to last.
I mean, I still don't think he understood why it was wrong when he sent the first tweet. And then finally, I think he got it. But Yeah, that's really funny. And I forget who. So we need to give the credit to the guy who has duped everybody with this tweet of just like it's the most obvious stat ever. It's like you could say, man, NFL teams this year shows you how much parity there is. They went 272 and 272.
Yeah. I'm going to give you a bold take. The SEC is going to finish 500.
Yeah, it's a good guess.
I don't know. Just a hunch. You know how Frazier gets his gut
Yeah,
feeling.
Jason, write that one down.
Write that down.
We want that on the guarantees
I want this clipped.
I'll have it clipped by
We'll
March
come-
Madness.
Yeah, we'll come back to it on Selection
This
Sunday.
gut feeling is like a 7-layer mac and cheese with a nice ribeye steak.
That sounds
Oh my
awesome.
God.
By the way,
yeah,
Man versus
wow.
food.
Just craving it.
Oh,
Yeah,
craving it.
I'm
As
feeling
if you eat this on like a weekly basis.
yeah, craving it
Just craving it.
at 9:53 on a Saturday morning.
I texted you guys the other day after the Bregman thing. It was like 6:45 in the morning. I could go for a Little Caesars pizza, and I was
Every
like,
time you talk about Alex Bregman, I want Little Caesars.
it's
pizza.
I- see, and now-
6:45.
I need to go get it just because Pizza Boy did come through with a good offer.
if
after the show trip.
No, not
He's-
today.
if
He's
the
headed-
Oh yeah,
Tiger-
you got to go to.
I'm
if the
headed-
Tigers and the Red Sox, if the Tigers beat the Red Sox in a series this week, we want pizza.
okay,
Not this week. This,
Yeah,
se-
but
this
this
season.
year.
Yeah.
yeah, we'll have to look when they play. Yeah, I'll do that. Not today. I will get it in the near future, but not today. Yes, headed to Auburn today.
Oh,
Yeah,
the jungle.
yeah,
The prettiest village on the plains.
Neville Arena.
And we can hear you on the call, right?
Yes, tomorrow,
How about that?
3:00 tip.
Have you ever had the lemonade down there?
I've
Do
not.
what?
They have a Tumor's Corner drugstore.
Right.
Is really known for their lemonade.
I might have
I've
to
heard
go
it's
there.
like excellent.
I did walk by Tumor's Corner when we were down there 2 years ago. Auburn's a cool little town.
Yeah.
It is. I would say it would rank highly on my SEC towns that I've been to.
Okay.
Anyway,
We got to get you some Rupp ice cream. Oh my
I went to Rupp last year because they were renovating Memorial. So they played all the women's games in Rupp last year.
Extra cream for me, Connor.
Hope you had a good extra scoop of ice cream for me, Connor.
I got a cone. So
Uh-huh. Was there an extra scoop for me? Did you
Well,
get
it
one?
was like the swirl, right? It was a soft serve.
it's a swirl.
Oh,
Okay,
Get a
gotcha.
double swirl.
Yes.
Yeah. Do they do the dip cones or no?
No.
Oh man.
No, it's just straight from the
Kentucky.
Straight from the
machine.
straight from the nozzle.
Yep.
615-737-1025 is our phone number. Newt's Notes making its triumphant return. Carl Ravitch with a blunder on the air earlier this week. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll get into our question of the day. Connor Newt wants to know, what is an album that you can play all the way through without skipping? We've got a couple answers on our text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. We want to hear from you. 615-737-1025. Our phone line's driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Hour number 2 coming up here on 4's Company, 1025, 1063 The Game. Hour number 2, 4's Company, 102.5, 106.3, The Game. Jake Lyman, Nick Frazier, Connor Newt, Jake Wallman. We are with you until 11:30 today. Second straight week with a little extension of our show as we'll bring you right into Tennessee and Vanderbilt. Commodores on the road in Knoxville today, taking on the Vols. Pre-game coverage at 11:30. Tip-off is at noon. Time to get into our question of the day. Connor Newt wants to know, what is an album that you can watch all the way or listen all the way through with no skips? No skips.
No skips.
There
Not
can't
a
be
single one.
there can't be a bad song on here. Connor, since you asked the question, go ahead. I know that you had an answer that you were listening to on the way in. What is your no skip album?
I'll preface this by saying I love older music. Like, I love 80s hair metal rock. That's my favorite. So I was listening to Hysteria, Def Leppard this morning.
Oh,
Entire album. No
no
skips.
skips.
Incredible album. Oh my God. I saw Def Leppard in concert last year with Journey. You guys were talking about on Chasing Big Joe, best concerts you've ever been to.
At Nissan Stadium, right?
Yeah, that's mine. Oh my goodness.
Really?
That's
Hey,
a heck of a
It was
lineup.
a heck of a lineup. It was Steve Miller band too, but who cares about that?
Ooh, nice open.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a big Steve Miller guy, but I mean, Def Leppard is by far, I've been listening to them since high school. That sounds really weird to say about a band that came out in like 1984, but
It's good music, generational.
I mean, that's by far my favorite band. That album, I mean, you got Pour Some Sugar on Me, which is, of course, their biggest song. Hysteria is incredible. Love Bites is my favorite. Armageddon It, Animal. Oh my God. I could go on about that album.
I mean, if there's no skips, they're all good.
They're all good.
They're all good. That's a good one. I might have to. Maybe I'll listen to
The
that.
runner-up would have to be the Wiggles' Greatest Hits album. No skips on that one.
Lemonade Mouth,
Lemonade Mouth. High School
Big
Musical
Time
3.
Rush, self-titled album. Those are all good. Nick Frazier, what's your answer?
I really don't know.
It's tough.
Like,
I'm going to say no greatest hits. Because
Yeah, no, you can't do
hits,
greatest hits.
Out of-
That doesn't count.
recency bias towards country music with Luke Combs. His albums have been
Right.
just phenomenal.
What's the best one?
Yeah.
I don't know. He's had some pretty good deep tracks on a few of them, but I'd say What You See Is What You Get album was pretty
Yeah,
solid.
I think that one's my favorite
Yeah,
too.
that's my
Because
favorite.
again, a concert at Nissan Stadium, I saw him last March. I think it was last March.
That's a good show.
It was a Friday night show. I got some cheap tickets. It was like $75 in club level, and it was the best concert.
Who
I've ever-
opened for him? Kojo?
No, it was Bailey Zimmerman. I believe.
Bailey Zimmerman's, he's got some good songs.
I saw him
Yeah.
open for Morgan Wallen.
Yes, me
last
too.
year.
Yeah. I was at
Mitchell
that show, too.
Tenpenny. That's who it was.
Mitchell Tenpenny.
Yeah.
I don't know.
All of his songs sound kind of the same, but they're okay. They're
Yeah.
solid.
Then when Luke Combs came out, it was pretty neat because he ended up getting his set list put together and then added some Diamond Rio in there, Meet Me in the Middle. I was like,
yeah,
hello,
like the
heaven,
covers.
it's here.
the covers from Luke Combs are always good.
Mm.
Obviously, Fast Car is the one that he
Fast Car,
actually
yeah.
put out, but like I know he does a lot of those. He'll do some Brooks and Dunn at shows too, I think.
Mhm. Yeah, he just puts on a good concert. Like, I don't know what it is with the modern day country music concert setups, but him and Morgan Wallen, I think, do this weird thing. Not weird, it's just like sports oriented where they do the walkouts
Yeah,
and they show that at the concert. I'm like, whoa, this is kind of cool.
I like it.
Wallen's is more staged. I
Right.
think with Combs, it's more organized / organic. There's something different.
Wallens, I
Right.
feel, are organic. Like, he obviously predetermines who he's going to have come out with
Right.
him. But I
Right.
feel like those are genuine reactions.
Yeah.
to seeing
Yeah,
each other.
that's true. I don't know. Just Luke comes out by himself.
I want them
and
to
it's just-
collab, do
yeah.
a song together.
Yeah,
That would
Eventually.
that would break records.
So, I would like to see another concert coming up. I don't know. Actually, I am. I'm going to Cody Johnson. I
Kojo.
Really?
totally forgot about that.
there you
Yeah.
go.
Kojo.
Just hit my brain.
I like
Love it.
Kojo.
Yeah. Good.
He's good. Jake Wallman, what's your answer?
Every time you guys talk concerts, you remind me that I need to go to more. I don't go to any concerts.
I haven't been to one in a while.
I haven't either.
Morgan Wallen might be the last one I went to.
The last
I thought you
time,
went to Posty.
Oh, I did go to Posty. Yeah,
Yeah.
I did. Yeah, that's the last one.
The last time I went to a concert was 5 years ago at the Cannery Ballroom. Rip. I saw Hardy
Oh,
in
I'm
concert.
sorry.
It was
Hardy's
lit.
Hardy's
did not like
initial stuff is good. I'm not a huge fan of his new stuff.
I don't like the screamo.
Yeah, when
Right,
he goes
yeah.
screamo, I'm like, nah. thanks, but no thanks.
Like the early Hardy stuff, like Sign Sober You,
Yeah,
I like when he played
Throwback,
some of his Morgan Wallen collabs are
Rednecker.
good.
like those are his first album. I think is good. I wouldn't say no skips on that first Hardy album, but the new stuff. I agree.
He did a song. I think it was on that first album with Trace Adkins that was
Yeah.
really
Ooh.
good. But my no skip album, I'm not going country music. The Eminem Show
Oh
from
yeah.
2002.
Oh yeah. That one's awesome.
That's a good one.
I'm not like I said, I'm not a huge rap guy, but I love
Yeah,
I'll listen
I
to some
love
Eminem.
I love Eminem.
it's a good one.
He
Going.
just brought it up real quick. Country Grammar, Nelly.
Oh,
I could
I
listen
don't
to that.
like Nelly.
I could listen to that on repeat.
yeah, that's a good one.
Does anything off that album? Now that I think about
I
it.
have a well, go ahead, Jake. I have a text on my personal text line.
Okay. We'll get to our text. We got a few answers on the text line. You can answer as well. 615-737-1025. What is an album you can listen through with no skips? I've got a few that I have come to my mind. One of the older ones, Daughtry's first album.
Mhm.
I think that one's really good.
Isn't it self-titled?
Yeah, I think it is self-titled.
Yeah.
I think it's just called Daughtry. I would say that one's a no skip for me. Some of the newer ones, Stick Season, Noah Khan. I'll be like every white girl on Instagram, according to Jared Stillman. I think that one's no skips. F1 Trillion. Speaking of Posty, F1 Trillion Post Malone. That one is really good.
I listened to the what is it, the double hatchback or whatever. It's like
the extended version.
Extended.
Yeah,
Those are good too.
Those are more just him.
Yeah.
Instead of the collabs. Like all the collabs are good, but some of the songs that he just does by himself are good too. One that's a little more of a deep track, Pelago by Ryan Hurd. That one's a good one for me.
I don't know that.
Ryan Hurd's one of my favorite artists. That one's no skips. And then I told you I had one that's going to make Joe Dubin drive off the road. Here's to the Good Times, Florida Georgia line. No skips on that album.
Oh no.
No skips.
Is Tippett back on that album?
No, but like Party People, Cruise is on that album.
Cruise is a banger.
This is
Original
how we
Cruise.
roll round here.
Oh.
Get Your Shine On.
Dude, that's like 2014. Like,
Those that was like middle school for me, and I'm telling
spring
you,
break. That's
no
that's
skips.
like dad driving me to school every morning stuff.
There are no skips on that album. I would listen, and I could sing every word of every song on that album. And Big Joe is probably on his. Actually, I don't think he's on his way in here, but he probably would be ready to take me off the air if he was.
Probably at his local Buc-ee's decompressing.
They got nice bathrooms.
Yeah.
If we get a text from Beth, we'll know in a couple of seconds. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. If you want to chime in, what is an album with no skips? Colin saying The Offspring Americana.
Offspring's awesome.
That is a good one.
I love Offspring.
Yeah, Colin chiming in. BL from Camden says Todd Snyder, Moondog's Tavern. That is one I have not heard.
Yeah, I'm not familiar.
But maybe that's one we'll have to listen to.
We're young.
If there's no skips, I mean, if somebody's saying there's no skips, it can't be all bad.
Texter on my personal text line says 10 by Pearl Jam.
Yeah.
I love Pearl Jam. It's one of my favorite. They're coming to Bridgestone here soon. I want to go.
I feel like you could go back to like a lot of the old school albums. There were a lot less filler songs in there. I feel like
they're all hits.
all of them were good.
Yeah.
The albums that come out now, it feels like if there's a 13 or 14 song album, 5 of them are kind of just there.
What is it? Oh, the artists, I feel every album is a no skip album. Bruno Mars.
Yeah.
Every single album, in my opinion, no skip, except for one. And that's Unorthodox Jukebox. There's one song in there that
Really?
sings. Yeah.
Old Maroon 5 had some really good songs.
Payphone.
I would say even pre Payphone.
Songs About Jane.
Songs About Jane is really good. I wouldn't say that's no skips. There are a few songs on there that I don't particularly like. What was there? Won't Go Home Without You. Is that the second album, or Won't Be Long Before, or
yeah,
something like
I
that?
know what you're talking about.
It's like the gray album background with the M. That one might be close to no skips.
That's good. What was the it wasn't recent. It was like 10 years ago. The V album is no skip.
Yes.
That one's great.
Yep.
That one's great.
Yep, that's a really good one too. I'm trying to think back to some other ones.
I have one. Coloring Book by Chance the Rapper.
Yeah, was that his first one?
I think so.
Or
I'm not
the-
a big Chance the
that came
Rapper
out
guy.
when I was probably freshman or sophomore in high school.
Yeah, I was in high school as well. It was a big spring break album for me.
One of my friends loved Chance the Rapper, so I probably heard that album
Yeah, I was a
100
junior.
times over.
I'm
I
not
was
a
a junior in
huge-
high school for that,
Huge fan.
or sophomore. One of the two.
I mean, Graduation. Is
Yeah.
no skip.
that
I know Kanye's not in the,
Yeah, we're
right
not.
most
frame of
positive of
mind.
eyes.
Yeah, but you know, something like that.
I think we should read every single tweet right now
no,
over the
we'll
air.
pass. But you're right. That is a good album, though.
It's a good album.
Sean in
Graduation.
Nashville chiming in. Another Post Malone album, Beer Bongs and Bentleys. I
Yeah,
know
that one's
that-
all right.
That's a popular one.
That's a good one.
My hot take is I like country Post Malone more than hip hop Post Malone.
That's what I like his hip hop stuff. Like when we went to the concert, like obviously I know all of the big songs from the past, but like I enjoy the country album more.
What was the one after Beer Bongs and Bentleys? That one was really
Um,
good because it had the one with Travis Scott and Ozzy Osbourne on it.
Yeah.
That was awesome. And it was Circles.
Hollywood's
and-
Bleeding.
Yep.
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 that's it.
Circles might be my favorite song of his.
That's one of them.
Yeah, it's on that album with what Beer Bongs and Bentleys, right?
Yeah. Yeah. 615-737-1025. Again, our question of the day, what is an album with no skips on it? You can continue to chime in. We'll get to your answers throughout the show. Speaking of, Craig says 50 cents, get rich or die trying. 50 cents.
50 Cent's got some bangers.
Yeah, he does. And another, again, like there's a divide somewhere, maybe like early 2010s, late 2010s, where I feel like music shifted a little bit. Some of the old
It got
stuff.
worse.
Yes, it got. That's what I'm trying to say. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. Again, you can text or call. Our phone lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. We're going to move on and talk a little Four Nations face-off coming up next. A big day today. Sweden and Finland coming up early this afternoon, and then the big one, USA, Canada later on in what is probably the best game of the opening round of the Four Nations face-off. We will talk about that coming up next here on 4's Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. 4's Company, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
I was ready
Jake
to go.
Lyman, Nick Frazier, Connor Newt, Jake Wallman.
That's my guilty pleasure.
Yeah,
artist
you,
right
you
here.
said you were listening to some Sabrina on the way in.
I love Sabrina.
It's a good song. This was the song of the summer,
Oh yeah,
outside of We Bring the Boom.
that's what we do. They got a new song out now. It's
I
like
know.
heavy metal.
Breaking the boom meter.
All of my YouTube suggestions are Rizzler videos.
I thought we have as a society. I think we're starting to move past bringing the boom.
Yes, I think
as a
it's. I
society.
think the era has gone past. Did I tell you that we figured out in my online dynasty in college football that we could change names of players?
Really.
Yeah, you can change the players' names.
Oh no.
So I now have AJ Bufumo as my middle linebacker, and the Rizzler is my starting cornerback.
AJ Bufumo.
Yeah,
Where's
he made
Big Justice?
Big Justice plays for SMU. Somebody got him
Hey.
before me. Yeah, AJ Bufumo had a game-winning pick in overtime for me last week. So
That's great.
yeah, in his post-game press conference, he asked for a double chunk chocolate cookie.
And how many booms you gonna give this? 5. No, I'm not gonna do
That win gets 5
Actually,
big
7.
booms.
7.
Or 6, I mean. You
Oh.
took it back for 6 big booms.
Sorry, your brother. Sorry for the loss of your brother. He gets 5 big
Five-
booms.
Oh, we're so
Boom.
sorry your brother passed away. He gets 5 big booms.
That's just crazy that somebody put that on Cameo. That's ridiculous.
How did we get back to AJ and Big Justice somehow? Oh, 'cause
Sabrina
I-
Carpenter.
Yes, because I
Song
said
of the
I,
Summer.
I said that We Bring the Boom was the song of the summer this year. Anyway, our
Thank
question
you.
of the day is what is your no skip album? What is an album you can listen all the way through and there's not a song that you don't want to listen to? Kenny the mailman is on our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com,
My
wanting
man.
to chime in. Kenny, good morning. Go ahead.
Hello, good friends. I'm trying to dodge some raindrops out here.
Be careful out there.
Yeah,
might
the
be able-
weather has been bad. You guys hear the thunder last night?
Yeah, it was like
By the
3 a.m.
end of the day, I will look like an otter, and that is that's no lie. It's just there's nothing you can do about it. Listen, I sort of cheat in a way. If I really like a group or a band, I always buy their greatest hits album. So, do y'all consider that cheating?
I mean, if it's the greatest hits, every song's good.
Right.
But
Yeah.
I think it depends on the band, but what are you thinking for greatest hits?
Well, let me tell you, I'm older than y'all. I was in junior high school when the album Boston came out. And I remember the first time we heard More Than a Feeling, we looked at each other and went, that is the coolest song we have ever heard. And I think they really only had 3 albums because they were so crafted, but they still stand the test of time. Just the interludes between songs is better than most songs that come out now. But here's a funny tidbit. I grew up in a very conservative home. I wasn't allowed to have music T-shirts or anything. So I got the Boston T-shirt and told my parents that was the new logo for the Red Sox. So maybe I shouldn't have lied. You know, it was the flying UFOs. I don't know if they ever thought that was a baseball bat or what. But also Styx, The Grand Illusion, and Hotel California.
Oh, Hotel
pretty doggone-
California.
I'm pretty doggone lucky. I grew up in the 70s, so I have a lot to choose from.
Oh,
Listen, y'all have a great day.
You too, Kenny. Thanks for the call. Yeah, I mean, we did say no greatest hits, but I feel like that one we can give a pass to. Kenny.
Boston's awesome.
Yeah.
Boston's got some good ones. When I was the producer for the show before we came on, Junie requested Boston as the outro every single time.
Yeah.
So it was he taught me the ways of Boston.
Boston has a
I'm more of a Chicago guy. Now, Chicago's awesome. Peter Cetera.
yeah. I mean, we could spend the rest of the show on this.
I think we should. No, I'm just kidding.
We have a texter on our text line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com who's getting into our 5 big booms. He says the fan section at BGA gives 5 big booms to highlight real dunks. Says the top 3 no skip albums. Is this it? The Strokes, Nevermind, Nirvana. But his niche shout out: Birds, Fly By Night, Danger Incorporated.
Not familiar.
Not familiar with that one, but
Nevermind is
yeah,
phenomenal.
I was surprised we didn't get that one before.
I mean, Nirvana is one of my favorite bands.
Yeah,
That
we were
rock
just talking
band.
about it, how the SNL 50-year anniversary concert was last night, and Post Malone went on in
That
place
song's
of Kurt
untouchable.
Cobain
Really?
to sing "Smells Like Teen Spirit."
Untouchable.
And I missed this?
Yeah, it was. I just saw it on on Twitter this morning. Adam Sandler introduced them, and the surviving members of Nirvana came out, and Post Malone sang for them.
Now it's cool to see Dave Grohl get on the kit, but that song's untouchable. Kurt Cobain is the only one allowed to sing that song publicly.
Yeah.
And me in the car on the way home.
Is SNL, is the 50-year anniversary show tonight? Like, is that the big one?
I don't know.
I thought it was last night.
No, that was the concert. Like, they had a whole bunch of musical acts, but I think the skit version is tonight. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
I need to look it up, but
You might be right.
I feel like SNL's coming back. To go on another quick tangent, I feel like it's gotten funnier over the last
I like
couple
SNL.
years.
Weekend Update is no skip every week.
Colin Jost and Michael Che, the joke swaps. That is some of the best
none of
comedy
which we
that-
can repeat on
No,
air.
cannot repeat a second of it on the air. But if you don't know what we're talking about, look up SNL joke swaps on YouTube. That is some of the best comedy that's come out in the last 5 years.
Oh,
it's all horrible,
It's,
but like
I mean, it's
it's
pretty
hilarious.
racy, but
I'll have to look it up.
it's-
I
You haven't seen it?
I haven't been in the loop. I may have like clips here and there. I just haven't been in the loop with SNL like the last 10.
I mean,
15
it
years.
definitely took a dip for a while. I think it's on the way back.
Okay.
I hope at least.
it's still. I mean, it's got some clunkers in there, but
If this man Jake Lyman gives the Titans a deadline, I'll trust this man's judgment. I will.
615-737-1025. If you want to keep chiming in on our question of the day, we'll keep getting to the answers. What is your no skip album? What can you listen to all the way through? Every song's good. But we will move on to hockey here quickly before we have to take a break. Four Nations face-off going on right now. NHL on a 2-week break. Already seen a couple of games and seen a couple of Predators out there. It was a night to forget for UC Soros on Thursday, right? Thursday night?
Thursday night.
Yes. Gave up six goals?
Yeah, 6-1.
Really? Yeah.
4 from the Kachuk brothers.
2 and 11 seconds.
Right. He gave up the 3 early on in the third period. It's been a rough go of it for UC Soros over the last couple of weeks. And now gets to face a couple of his teammates today, facing Sweden this afternoon.
Yeah, Philip Forsberg, Gus Nyquist.
I don't believe Soros is in net today. I think Kevin Lincoln.
Former Pred.
Right. Yeah. Former
Yeah,
Pred.
Kevin
Yeah.
So I think we've probably seen the end of UC Soros
in the Four Nations phase.
Yeah, because it's round robin. So
right. It's round robin. And then is it what? The top 2 play
I believe so.
for championship? Okay.
Unfortunate for UC Soros, man. Like I feel like this guy, obviously, the deep pairing. I get. I'm not the hockey savant here. I'm just from talking to people along with actually watching the game. The defensive front was just not great. I mean, obviously, the U.S. is pretty loaded with their lines and so forth, but
I mean, when you give up a goal, it's almost never exclusively on the goalie.
yeah,
There's always a little bit,
Yeah.
but it's never exclusively on the goalie. But it's been a rough couple of days for UC Soros. Gave up 6 for the Preds.
I don't think
a
you can
couple
look
days
at-
ago.
I don't think you can look at 6 goals and say none of them were UC Soros.
Right. I'm
Right.
sure that some.
That's
I'm sure
okay.
that some of them were, but I'm saying that you also can't put all 6 firmly on him. I have seen Jared put out in what was his last game, the Friday before the break.
Yeah.
He gave up 3 goals above expected, which is not what you want.
no.
But I think it's also a little bit premature to freak out. Like we're seeing Jared's asking to trade UC Soros before his new contract kicks in. Like you can't do that.
No.
You sign the guy to what, an 8-year contract?
Yep.
Hadn't even kicked in yet.
You've got to you got to give him a little more runway. It's a lost season. He hasn't looked great, but I think he'll get next year to try and get back to form.
Yeah.
If next year goes bad, then the Preds might be in some trouble.
I like if I'm management like Barry Trotz, I think this Four Nations face off, you're really hoping for a good performance from UC Soros just for his value perspective going into like next season. Because if obviously no trade clause, but like I believe that's for the player to choose where he goes, correct?
Yeah.
So like in that regard, you're thinking if it does come down to something like that, you kind of want to have a good lead up to next season. And that's, again, I'm looking way into the future. Sorry about that.
Right. And like, if I don't understand the calls to trade him, his value has never been lower than it is right now. He's not playing very well. And you already basically have to take on that entire contract if you trade for him.
Yeah.
Like it's not going to happen.
No.
I mean, the value The time to trade him was last trade
Right.
deadline.
And if you wanted to trade him, you had the opportunity to when you still had Yaroslav Askarov in the fold, and you maybe could have re-signed Kevin Lankinen.
Are you
going to
give
starter.
the keys to Justus Annunen?
No,
Justus
I mean,
has been
he's been good. He's been good, but like we can't judge these guys based on what a couple month period, because Jussi's had his games where he's been really good this year too.
You're not wrong.
So I don't know.
It's like baseball. Pete Alonso this past season hit a rough stretch hitting. Does that make him any less of a valuable player for the New York
and
Mets?
he came up huge for them in that wild card series against the Brewers with the home run.
Yep,
helped them win, and now he's back on a decently sized deal. It's not a huge deal, but
But he's got ammunition to help him out though with Juan Soto. So you got to think
and
that should help him.
Yeah, and so you got to think with UC Saros, like you have the ammo around you. It's the fact of the matter you need defensive ammo to help you out. That's the issue for me.
And I think it's all premature. Yes, has he been bad? For sure, but I don't think it's time to jump the gun and freak out at this point. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. We'll get into the USA and Canada coming up after this. We're broadcasting from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. Big game coming up this afternoon in the Four Nations face-off. We'll talk about it next here on 4's Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Tune into 102.5, 106.3 The Game right after us for Vanderbilt men's basketball as the Commodores take on Tennessee. Noon tip pregame show at 11:30. Vanderbilt men's basketball is presented by Athletes Unlimited Pro Basketball, coming to Nashville's Municipal Auditorium now through March 2nd. Go to auprobasketball.com for more details and to purchase tickets. Talking hockey here in hour number 2 on 4's Company. Jake Lyman, Nick Frazier, Connor Newt, Jake Wallman. Talked about UC Saros's tough performance back on Thursday night against the USA. Today, the Americans take on the Canadians in what is
The Tariff War.
There's a
Battle for
lot
State
of
51, baby.
there's a lot of political angst between those two countries right now, and they're facing off in really the only sport that they'd be competitive in, in hockey.
Maybe basketball.
Maybe basketball. They've got some.
They had a good team in
Shay's Canadian.
Jamal Murray's
Murray's Canadian.
RJ Barrett.
Yeah, they got some talent over
Dylan
there.
Brooks.
I'm not sure it stacks
Dylan
up
Brooks.
with the U.S., but the U.S. is caught up a little bit in hockey. Canadians might be cursing my name for saying that, but the U.S., the talent in America hockey-wise has gotten to the point where you're competitive with a nation like Canada.
Yeah.
It's a big one tonight, and it's not for the championship. These two teams could meet up again, obviously, for the championship of the Four Nations face-off. But a lot of eyes going to be on this one. That is a 7:00 puck drop. Is that one in Montreal too?
Mm-hmm. It is.
And then the championship's in Boston.
Yeah, they move after tonight, I believe, or maybe Monday.
I do know tonight is in
Yeah,
Montreal.
I know it's Montreal and then Boston later on. So, thoughts on this one? Do we think the U.S. can beat Canada? And, as Connor said, add a 51st state to the union.
He said that.
I said
Nick
that.
Frey. Yeah, okay, there you
I
go.
said that.
Sorry.
He said that.
Sorry, Dr.
I mean, if they include the syrup with it, I'm all good. Listen, I mean,
they can leave their bacon.
yeah, I don't need the bacon. I got my own coming my way. Skillet.
How about that? The winner of tonight's game gets to call theirs just bacon. The other one, Canadian bacon goes back to ham.
Yeah.
Sliced ham.
Yeah. You ever had country ham?
Oh, yes.
I have not.
It's incredible.
Really?
It's salty but delicious. Oh,
Jake Lyman, you would love a piece of country ham.
Okay, maybe
Yeah.
I gotta
Go to Waffle House. They'll fix you up.
All right.
He might make you one with his pig.
Yeah, that's
honestly,
true.
like,
Killing.
yeah. Come
Yeah.
over, put on the Blackstone. We'll
There
get it
we
going.
go.
Yeah.
I haven't been to Waffle House in a while. Maybe that should be a stop at some point.
Apparently did like a
I have never
Valentine's.
been to. I mean, I've been inside a Waffle House. I've never.
Do we do
eaten-
a post-show trip to Waffle House at some point?
I don't think I
Yes.
really want to. Last time I went to a Waffle House, I didn't eat anything, but this lady was like, "It's my birthday," and she was like begging me for a tip, or like
That's a standard Waffle House trip right
Come
there.
on,
This was
man.
also like 10 p.m.
Yeah. Waffle House. Honestly, it's better late night, but it
Yeah.
is good for breakfast.
I think 10 p.m. is probably like the first, I'd say like the first wave of Waffle House. And then you get to the meat and potatoes of
like
prime
midnight to 2
time.
a.m.
Yeah.
I don't want to.
That's when you see fights and stuff.
Yeah.
And then you get to about like
good.
2:30 to 6 a.m. That's where you get your truck drivers. your,
Yeah.
Hey, man, what you doing? I've been driving for about 5
Give me them eggs,
hours.
darling.
You might still have a few stragglers from the bars.
No,
It'd be fun. You know what?
I'm good.
We should do a
We're
fantasy
scheduling
football
that.
league, and whoever loses has to spend a whole 24 hours in Waffle House.
Yeah, but is it what every waffle you eat takes an hour off? Or
No.
no, you just spend the
We'll
whole
just
20.
spend the whole 24 hours there.
I don't want to play.
I don't want to play.
We'll do
You're
a
gonna play.
4-man league just with us.
Yeah,
And you have to draft
the
the
teams
worst
are
possible
loaded.
players.
Yeah.
you have to draft Kyler Murray.
Whoever drafts Kyler Murray is winning the league.
I don't know.
How about whoever gets closest to 0 points for the whole season?
Oh, we're doing aggregate scores.
Yeah, you just start drafting injured players
like
to
a-
put them in there. Whoever gets the most injured
It's
players
a 14-week season.
wins. Yeah.
You play each other like 5 times.
It can be done. It can be done.
Anyway, how did we get here? Canadian bacon.
Yes.
Right. Canada, USA tonight at 7 p.m. I think it should be a good one. I will certainly be tuned in down there in Auburn.
Yeah, I'm intrigued to see how Sidney Crosby plays. Everybody's talking about Sid the Kid and
Yeah.
just all the hype around him, how he's going to play with Connor McDavid and so forth. I mean, Connor McDavid's probably the best thing since sliced bread in hockey.
Yeah.
So I mean, going up against a USA team that thrashed Finland 6-1, it's going to be interesting for sure.
I'm looking at Austin Matthews on
Mm.
our side. I think he's maybe the best scorer in the league, not named Connor McDavid. But we don't acknowledge the Canadians today. It's all Americans. But keep in mind, that's a Toronto Maple Leaf playing in Montreal.
Yeah.
Big rivalry. They booed him the other day. It was awesome.
Really?
Yeah, the whole arena.
Yeah.
It was really cool.
Boos during the anthem too.
Really?
Yeah, did you see that? They booed the U.S. anthem.
Well, they won't be doing that much longer.
Did
Boo Freebird, buddy.
Yeah.
Boo Freebird.
I know there's been a lot of thoughts on, is Freebird a good goal song?
I love it.
100%.
I think it's awesome.
I think there were better options.
Like
Oh,
what?
do tell.
Born in the
Um,
USA?
No, not that. That's not a pro-American song.
Is it not?
Have you ever listened to the lyrics to that song?
I choose not to listen to Bruce Springsteen.
Okay, if you ever listen to Born in the USA, you can listen. It is not a patriotic song whatsoever. It's actually not anti-American, but like it's
This is
about the
America.
struggles of being American.
Not pro-American.
No,
There you
not
go.
pro-American. God,
Proud to be an
Toby Keith.
American.
Yes.
go
Red, white, and blue.
courtesy of the
baby.
red, white, and blue.
I love it.
I love that.
Freebird's better. Freebird's so much better.
And Uncle Sam, right as the goal goes in,
Yeah.
horn.
Freebird's so
No,
much better.
Freebird does fit there. I just feel like there were better options.
I mean, what are the other ones? What does Canada use? They just use "Oh Canada."
They should use "Let's Go to the Mall."
Yes, sandcastles in the sand.
Yeah,
Have you seen How I Met Your Mother?
No.
Okay.
Robin Sparkles.
Robin Sparkles.
Again, we're over my dome here.
Robin
I can't
Daggers.
see.
Two beavers are better than one.
That's not
Again,
an okay song to sing.
It's about
my
their
short
pet
stature,
neighbors.
it's over me. I don't
They're
know.
doing math together,
Yeah.
Ted.
I don't understand. One of the characters was a Canadian pop star
Gotcha.
in the show.
Gotcha. So wait, is this the battle for Tate McRae?
I guess so.
Mm,
She's Canadian. though.
she's Canadian.
That's what I'm saying. If Canada loses, then they become part of America.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
that is true.
And she
she
becomes my
performed-
wife.
Did she perform at the All Star game last year?
Yeah,
I
I
feel
believe
like I
so.
remember that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Connor's future wife.
My
yeah.
wife.
I'd like to get a take if Jared's listening on this. I don't know if
He's
you would
not
ever.
listening.
Probably not.
He's
no.
not
Probably
listening.
not. He's got
Well, like,
things
what's
to do.
his house like today?
Yeah, that's true. Civil
Oh, yeah.
War in Jared's house.
I don't know.
What's that kid doing?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good
We'll
point.
have to
Another
keep an eye on his Twitter. I'm sure he'll let us know how things are going.
I wonder if Jared's one of those guys that has like the half jerseys. You think?
Yeah,
Oh no.
or like the bumper sticker that
US
says like "House
Canada.
Divided" or something
Would
that
like
goes
that.
against the new handbook of sports fandom.
Yeah,
or-
well, especially you can't be fans of two countries.
Yeah, no.
Canassa or U.S. Canada?
No, don't put the words.
Yeah, let's.
together.
Yeah, let's.
We've
I'm just saying
experimented
that's
that
what the
before.
jersey would say.
Yeah,
you know?
well,
Oh yeah. I guess it would.
Canassa.
We've experimented the word plays before. It didn't work well.
This has certainly been a segment of Sports Talk Radio. 615-737-1025. We will take a break.
Some expert hockey analysis right
yes.
there, guys.
Yeah.
Do
Anybody,
that hockey.
as they say in hockey. Yeah. Let's do that hockey. Big one tonight, 7:00, USA, Canada, Sweden, and Finland earlier on this afternoon. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to get into some college basketball. Big day on the hardwood. Vanderbilt and Tennessee coming up right after us. And then later on, number 1 versus number 2, Auburn, Alabama. We'll talk hoops right after this. 4's Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Nashville's best deal this week is 312 Pizza Company in Germantown. 312 Pizza Company serves the best pizza in town, as well as Chicago-style eats like Chicago dogs, Italian beef sandwiches, and more. Head to theGameNashville.com/deals now to get half off a $30 gift card to 312 Pizza Company while supplies last. Jake Lyman, Nick Frazier, Connor Newt, Jake Wallman. 4's Company, you get a little bit extra of us today. We're with you till 11:30.
We're sorry.
Yes, we apologize. This show has gone off the rails about 1,000 times this morning.
That's okay.
But we get it back on
Ish.
sometimes.
Most of the time.
We're going to lead you right up to Vanderbilt coverage of the Commodores and Tennessee from Knoxville, 11:30 a.m. pregame with Kevin Ingram and Tim Thompson. Tip-off set for noon from Thompson Bowling Arena. Vanderbilt trying to sweep Tennessee in the season series this year. We're going to talk some college basketball. Let's start right there with Vandy and Tennessee. This is a big one. Tennessee trying to get back up towards the 1 line. Connor Newt's Kentucky Wildcats with a big win over the Vols earlier this week.
Did they?
Did they what?
I was just trying to get you to repeat it.
Oh, sorry. I was like, I think so.
Yeah.
I thought they did. Yeah, Kentucky beating Tennessee, sweeping the season series.
2 times. I should have brought my broom in today.
Yeah, you should have. Jake Wallman would have loved that.
Yeah.
You know who's not surprised?
This
guy.
guy.
Yeah, Nick
right
Frazier a week ago, about right now, said, "Hey, Jake, baseball season's
Sorry.
right around the corner."
They're going to lose to the other team in orange.
Hey, just
today.
remember,
Don't worry.
Acuna took 1 at-bat
I
inside
saw that.
the batting cage. Just 1 pitch. That
Since
was
you're
it.
a big Braves guy now.
Just be ready for
favorite?
that.
I mean, I've been a big Braves guy. You guys know me.
Be ready for that, man.
It's your
I
favorite.
mean, he took what I'm trying to think about BP when they were outside. It was like his
Yeah.
first.
You don't have to worry about it. It's just one pitch. You're good.
He went yard.
Yeah. No, I don't know if he went yard, but we're back to basketball. Something you don't really need to worry about.
Yeah, you don't need to worry about it. Jake, you go watch those spring training highlight videos on your phone. We're going to talk about some
That's how I'm
basketball
going
for
to
a
watch
little bit.
baseball this year, so I might get used to it.
Love you, buddy.
Today, Tennessee hosting Vanderbilt, looking for some revenge. The Commodores with a 76-75 win in Nashville last month. It's a big one. Mentioning Tennessee trying to get back up towards the 1 line. Vanderbilt inside the bubble after their win over Texas earlier this week right now, according to most bracketologists. This one would, I think a win today, you could confidently say Vanderbilt's going to go dancing.
I would think so.
They would have to win probably 1 or 2 more games.
And there's some down the stretch they could win.
Right. They got Georgia. They've got there's another one that's moderately winnable for them.
Ole Miss.
Ole Miss is winnable, but
Missouri?
that's tough. Missouri's still tough. Who are their last 2 games of the season?
Arkansas and Georgia.
Arkansas and Georgia. Those are the 2. Arkansas is playing a lot better now.
You're
But
welcome.
those are the 2 that I would look at as pretty winnable. And any game at home, as we've seen, it's going to be hard for the road team to come in and win.
Yeah.
Which is why today's going to be tough for Vanderbilt. You're going into a tough environment, Food City Center, Thompson Bowling Arena.
There you go. That's the correct name.
I was going to say on Twitter all week, it was, Tennessee making fun of Kentucky for being called Kroger Field.
Yeah.
When your basketball arena is
Food
called
City Center.
Food City Center.
At Thompson Bowling
At
Arena.
Thompson Bowling.
Yeah.
I think they've actually dropped the last part. It's just
really,
Food
it's
City.
just Food City Center
Last
now?
year it was Food City Center at Thompson Bowling Arena, but
You don't
I
have
think-
the worst food named arena in the nation. That
Correct.
belongs to Loserville, the KFC Yum Center.
Yum
Yeah,
Center.
I don't mind that. I kind of think it's cool.
Yeah. I like them more traditional.
No, I agree. I think I like history better than sponsor.
Technically, Rupp Arena is called Rupp Arena at Central Bank Center, I think, but no one calls it that
Yeah.
or cares.
I'm trying to think of.
The Yum Center?
Yeah, the
That's what
KFC
they-
Yum
KFC
Center.
Yum Center.
Yeah.
KFC.
Sorry, I didn't say it right.
Apparently,
There's an
it's actually
explanation
one of
for
the nicer arenas in college basketball.
it. Yeah, especially when it's decked out in blue,
Yeah, you're right. Not checkerboarded, but decked out. in
out.
blue. Yeah.
not checkered.
Top level, bottom level.
And then there's a little smidge of home fans,
Yeah.
but
Call
mostly blue.
the smudge of ketchup. That's what you
Yeah.
want. Food's in my mind. Sorry, guys. Hey, hopefully Vanny can go above 500 at 3-3.
Yeah, and that would get them in.
That was the joke.
Oh.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if you caught
Sorry.
that.
They got to be the dominant force. There's no dominant team in this conference.
Oh, I'm putting it together. Carl Ravitch.
Unlike
moment
Carl
over here.
Ravitch.
Yeah.
Won't be repeating that joke.
Yes. Vandy needs a few more wins they've got what, 5 SEC wins right now?
Yep.
I think you need 7 if you want to feel good about getting, or I think you need 7 to have a chance to get into the tournament. 8 would have you feeling good in the SEC. A win today, I think you could pretty safely pencil Vanderbilt in. Not in Sharpie, but in pencil. I think you could put Vandy in the field with a really good chance of making the tournament. You'd have 2 wins over Tennessee, a win over Kentucky, and you'd have then 6 SEC wins. You just don't lose out down the stretch, and I think Vandy would be going dancing in year 1 of Mark Byington.
Yeah. The question is this the only year of Mark Byington? Because I'm seeing reports that are like, he's listed number 1 on that Virginia job. He might go home. Indiana might be interested.
Yeah.
I
Yeah. I
don't
mean,
know.
I don't see it, but Virginia, I know, is going to want to find a successor to Tony Bennett that's going to do better than whatever's gone on there this year.
And that you hope they don't do
Yeah,
better.
please, Mark Byington, I'm begging you, if you're listening, don't go to Virginia. They suck there. The fan base is awful.
Just can't catch a break.
no.
Bregman and now this.
I
That'd be
mean,
terrible.
Mark Byington, I don't know if he's a Wahoo kind of guy. JMU falls more into the Virginia Tech type of people.
Like humble.
JMU is a school filled with people who couldn't get into Virginia Tech. That's basically what it is. It's all of the people who wanted to go to Virginia Tech but couldn't.
Tech rejects.
I hate saying that because I have a lot of good friends who went to JMU. Some live in the Nashville area. Hope you're not listening.
You're all bums.
But that's basically what it is, though, is JMU is Virginia Tech light. So I don't, and Mark Byington, this guy, he coached at Virginia Tech for 1 year. So I don't know if he's a UVA kind of guy. I'm just saying.
It's in his blood. It's the maroon and orange coursing through him.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think Mike Young's going to get fired because he's done more with this team for the Hokies than I think anyone thought possible. Beat UVA, by the way. But yeah, I hope Mark Byington doesn't go to UVA. I think he's building something strong here at Vandy. They've got good. I know a lot of the attention goes to the experienced transfers that they brought in, like Edwards and McLaughlin and Nickel. But you look at Tyler Tanner.
Yeah.
That dude is legit.
I was thinking MJ Collins.
MJ Collins, too. He's a Hokie. Trying to think of some of the younger guys, like Jalen Carey. What a game for Jalen Carey. I believe against Texas, right? Or no? I'm blanking on the game. He had like 18 and 14.
Was it Kentucky?
It might have been.
I think it was.
But Jalen Carey's only a sophomore.
Texas.
Okay, it was Texas. Okay. Yeah, Jalen Carey, he's only a sophomore. He's going to keep getting better. I think Mark Byington wants to build it here. And, you get into the NCAA tournament in year 1, that's only going to draw more attention in the transfer portal and from high schoolers wanting to come play.
Yeah. He's got a good thing going here in Nashville. It's hard to say we've seen an energy like this around the Vanderbilt program in a long time. Like football, you had a great season, bringing back a lot of pieces for next year. Basketball, you got a bright new coach. He's a good coach. He's turned that program around, which Jerry Stackhouse, we're not even going to comment on him, but
nice suit.
Very well dressed.
He does wear very nice suits.
Very well dressed.
I have a feeling about this. Another gut feeling from Nick Frazier here. I think the tide's starting to turn a little bit with Tennessee Vanderbilt and trying to lock down the pipeline for the state in general.
Yeah.
We're all seeing the back end of a window, in my opinion, with Tennessee and their basketball program with Rick Barnes. And I think Byington's opened up that window, obviously being the first year head
I'm kind of
coach.
with you. If you are a recruit in Middle Tennessee, I think you're starting to look more at Vanderbilt than you are Tennessee.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's so much more, in my opinion, history in Nashville when it comes to basketball and Vanderbilt. Memorial Magic, all those great years with Jeffrey Taylor, Festus Ezeli, John Jenkins, Brad Tinsley, all those guys, and the Kevin Stallings days. That was, in my opinion, you would say peak Vanderbilt, because I think College Game Day was first time ever it came to Nashville in that like era of basketball. I think Byington has that pun intended, buy-in mentality to bring in those national,
It is weird
ratings.
because Vanderbilt seems to be on the rise.
Right.
Tennessee, I don't want to say they're on the decline, but
But they're holding
stagnant.
steady.
they're holding
Yeah.
steady. Rick Barnes is about to retire, it seems. Maybe not this year. but
Allegedly.
allegedly.
He's
next
he
couple
is
years.
on the back nine for sure.
Yeah. I mean, if we know Danny White, he's going to hire some G5 guy no one has ever heard of.
It's
I
a
mean,
powerhouse.
He's going to be the greatest hire of all time. But I don't know. It's just right now, it seems like Vanderbilt's on the upswing.
Mhm.
And I think if you're a Vanderbilt fan, that's something to really, really be excited about.
Yeah. And Vandy, they have the NIL money to compete, and that's shown in what they've done in the transfer portal in pretty much every sport. I mean, you look at football, basketball, baseball. Tim Corbin's done a nice job of adjusting and not being Dabo Sweeney and saying, I've done it this way for so long, I'm going to keep doing it this way. He's adjusted, and hopefully a good year for the Vandy boys too. And I mentioned they're coming up later on today, taking on Nebraska. You can tune in right here on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game for Vanderbilt baseball with Andrew Allegretta. Pregame begins at 6:30, first pitch at 7. Coverage also available on the 102.5 The Game app and at thegamenashville.com. Bigger game later on today. Not in the area. Tennessee Vandy obviously going to draw a lot of eyes around here.
South Carolina and Florida.
You got it. No, the biggest game maybe of the year. I think it has to be the biggest game of the year to this point. 1 versus 2. And it's a rivalry. Auburn, Alabama. 3:30 tip today. We'll talk about that coming up next here on 4's Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Final 30 minutes of the show. 4's Company, 102.5, 106.3. The game, we're leading you right up to Vanderbilt coverage of the Commodores and the Vols from Knoxville. Vandy and Tennessee. Pregame with Kevin Ingram and Tim Thompson coming up at 11:30. Tip-off just under an hour from now at noon. Jake Lyman, Nick Frazier, Connor Newt, Jake Wallman. Talking college basketball here. We just previewed Vandy, Tennessee a little bit. How about Auburn, Alabama today? The Iron Bowl of basketball. 1 versus 2 down in Tuscaloosa. The winner of this game, I think it's pretty obvious, gets the inside track at the number 1 overall seed with, 4 weeks to go until Selection Sunday?
Yeah. Sundays.
4 weeks from tomorrow, we will have a bracket.
Hopefully we'll be able to watch if you have YouTube TV.
That is true.
I think they did reach a settlement where they're...
They did. I think they figured it out, so you won't have to... You won't miss out on.
I can't wait.
In 4 weeks.
Last year, I was driving into school on the first day of March Madness. I wasn't going to class. I was watching the games. I played that song and I just started crying.
Yeah.
I was like, we're here. And then that night, I watched John Calipari lose to Jack Golke in Oakland. But
It's a new era.
new era.
Coping with Pope.
New era. Now we can lose in the first round with Pope. And it's okay.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
It'll be
because it's
okay.
only year 1.
Yeah, it's only year 1. You can
But
build off of it.
Auburn, Alabama, I mean, we've talked about how dominant the SEC is. I think in Joe Lunardi's latest bracketology, 3 of the 4 1 seeds are from the SEC and 14 bids. I think LSU and South Carolina are the only 2 teams from the SEC not projected to be in the tournament right now.
Arkansas gets in?
Let me check.
Really? 3-win Arkansas?
Let me check. Actually, I have a computer.
They
right in front of
have
me.
4 wins now.
4-win Arkansas?
Joe
Oh, they beat LSU. That's
But
right.
still, and they're up against A&M right now. It's very early. But
You're welcome for them playing better, by the way. I wonder who started that one.
Yes.
I can see them getting in.
Arkansas is the second to last team in. So even though there are 14 teams in, according to Joe Lunardi, I believe that is correct. Let's see. Yes, 14 SEC bids. 5 of those are within the last 8 teams into the bracket, according to Joe Lunardi.
Okay.
Joey Brackets has Oklahoma, Vanderbilt, and Texas as part of the last 4 buys, and then Arkansas and Georgia are the last 2 teams in.
Okay. So he's saying basically they can range anywhere from 9 to 14 teams.
Yes.
Okay.
But you would think probably minimum of,
I'd say 12, 10.
I'd say minimum of 11 probably are going to get it. I bet two of those 5 minimum get in.
Yeah.
But you could see, I would guess not all 5 of those teams are
I
going to
don't
get
think
in
you're getting
because
14 of 16
right,
teams in.
the teams are going to cannibalize themselves. Vandy might beat Arkansas, but then Georgia beats Vandy.
I don't know how you could put any of these teams in when they're in a, 500 conference.
Right. I mean,
It's ridiculous.
how is a conference with 14 bids not better than 500?
It's ridiculous.
It's crazy.
Oh, man.
It's never going to die.
It's not. I mean, Carl Ravitch saying that straight faced on a broadcast. I still don't understand.
I wanted to hear the rest of it. I want to know what Jimmy Dykes said.
Yeah. Like, did he try and correct him, or was
No,
it?
I mean, Jimmy Dykes. My beef with Jimmy Dykes is he tries to say things and rephrase them in a way that makes them sound smarter, but it actually makes them sound dumber.
Yeah,
Sounds right.
he's not terrible on TV.
He's very biased against Kentucky
Yeah,
because he coached at Kentucky. He was on Kentucky's coaching staff. They fired him. His daughter goes to Tennessee. Cheers
Yeah.
for them. So I think he's biased one way or more than another, but
Mm.
that's neither here nor there.
Well, today I don't believe we're going to have Carl and Jimmy calling Auburn, Alabama.
It's
That is
probably Jay Billis.
yes, you would guess it's Shulman and Billis. That is it 3:30? Is that when it tips off?
3 o'clock.
3
Hope-
o'clock.
3:00. Hopefully, it doesn't start on ESPN News like most college basketball games have ended up.
While we
but-
finish up our coverage
Yeah.
of Arizona State and BYU.
Right. But Auburn, Alabama, winner likely going to be the 1 seed overall with, again, 4 weeks to go. There's still a long way left until Selection Sunday. But this is a big data point for both these teams. And it makes it even better that it's a rivalry matchup. And I'm sure that atmosphere down in Coleman Coliseum is going to be insane.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun one. I'm excited for this one. The matchup of Janai Broom and Grant Nelson is going to be fun. I think Janai Broom, obviously, it's a 2-horse race for National Player of the Year between him and Cooper Flagg. But Grant Nelson is an underrated defender. We saw that against my team, Kentucky. But it's just, I think this is going to be a fun one. Mark Sears is the X factor for Bama. I think if he's on, I think Bama gets the job done. But I mean, Bruce Pearl is not overachieved, but exceeded expectations this year with this team. They're all in their 30s almost. But
yeah, it's going to be a fun one, and I think probably will end up being game of the year. I hope it's close. I would guess it's going to be close, but it is such different styles that we're going to see. Like Auburn,
more methodical,
right? More methodical. They're more of a defensive team, while Alabama is trying to put up 110 every single time they go onto the floor. So
then give up 109
right?
in the process.
Yeah, it's like we don't care how much we give up, but we're going to score more than you. It'll be fun to see which style wins out in that game.
Yeah.
If they make more shots, I think they win.
Yeah, that's a good guess.
I think
It's not always true.
That might be a good observation.
Depends on how much the shots are worth. But
yeah. Well, if
I do
they
think
score more points,
scoring more points
I
than
think
the
they
other
might win.
team is a strong strategy. We should lock that in as key to the game for both teams.
Some expert analysis.
Yeah,
It's a pop.
That's why
that have been on these airwaves.
That's why you get paid the big bucks.
Boy.
Yeah,
Radio with a capital R.
Yep.
Auburn, Alabama, going to be a big one down there in Tuscaloosa. 1 versus 2, 3 o'clock tip from Coleman Coliseum. One of many big games in the SEC today, and we are going to pick a couple of them next. And we do get a wild card.
Ho!
I know.
Yes.
I know. Connor
Oh.
making picks for the first time
I
in
know.
3 weeks.
Dude, I got to go 3 of 3 here.
You do.
See it.
It's got to be a comeback. It's like when Eric Berry came back from the Chiefs after having cancer.
Again, like
Not
we
that I
said,
had cancer or anything. 2 different scenarios.
Clarifying.
This is, I mean, our picks are just like, I think we've said this before. It's like, whose line is it anyway? The game or
The points don't matter.
The show where there are no rules and the points don't matter. We have not kept track of what we got right, but we're going to make picks coming up next. Final segment of 4's Companies will lead you into Vandy and Tennessee right after this here on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. Final segment, 4's Company on this Saturday morning. 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Jake Lyman, Nick Frazier, Connor Newt, Jake Wallman. We are leading you right up to coverage of Vanderbilt and Tennessee men's basketball from Knoxville. Kevin Ingram and Tim Thompson will have the call. Really a loaded day here on the Game Nashville Sports Network. Here on 102.5 The Game, you don't even have to turn the dial. Vandy, Tennessee, coming up, tip-off at noon. Then Auburn, Alabama will be right here on our airwaves coming up at 3. And then Vandy baseball taking on Nebraska at 6:30. But if you want more, Arkansas and Texas already underway over on 94.9 The Fan. And NASCAR, more coverage from Daytona.
500's coming up
at 3:30. And then over on 93.3 FM Totally Hits, MTSU men's basketball against Western Kentucky, 6:30 coverage starts. Loaded day across the Game Nashville Sports Network. And again, don't forget tomorrow, Vandy women's basketball against Auburn, 2:45 pregame. Down there, big one. Vandy needs a win.
Raise those antennas and turn those dials,
yes,
baby. We're ready to go.
It. We got everything you could possibly need. And we're going to pick a couple of those games starting right now. Vandy and Tennessee coming up right after us. Do the Commodores sweep the Vols this season, or does Tennessee get a measure of revenge today from Knoxville? Connor Newt.
That's a tough one. I don't like that all the game day guys pick Tennessee to win because it's usually a bad omen. But I think they get it done today. I think they're at home. They play a lot better at home, especially Chaz Lanier. I think he hits his shots today. I think Tennessee hits more shots than Vanderbilt today. And I think the Vols get it done.
I'm going with Vandy. Give me Vandy on the road. Vandy by 5.
I'll go Vandy too. I think Vandy has shown that they can play with anybody. I mean, even against Auburn, they were hanging in there till the very end, but ended up losing by 13 on Tuesday night. But they were able to come back from a 15-0 run to start the game and make it a 2-point game at halftime. I think Vandy hangs in there and pulls it out in the end, sweeps Tennessee. Jake Wallman, I think I know where you're going.
So before you guys came in this morning, I had a little bit of free time, and I went back and looked at Tennessee's hustle stats, bench points, fast break, turnover, stuff like that, in the 5 losses. And I ended up counting them, how many they won, how many they lost. 14-10 in terms of how many they've lost, in terms of how many they won. They got to start winning those hustle stats as we get down the stretch. I think that Tennessee remembers how bad, especially Chaz Lanier, how bad that game ended for him in Memorial, where he had a chance to, I think, send it to overtime.
Yeah, he missed the free throw that would have tied it.
Yeah. Yep. So I hope he remembers that. I hope this team remembers how bad that feels, because, I mean, this is a rivalry where if you lose, you're going to feel bad until you win again.
Yep.
So give me the Vols.
All right.
Is this the first time ever Jake Wallman and I have ridden on the Vols together?
Yeah, it might be.
Probably, yeah.
It might be.
It might be the last time.
We are split.
Don't get too comfortable.
On the
Trust me, I don't.
in-state rivalry today. Another in-state rivalry. We just talked about it. Auburn, Alabama. Later on today. Again, you can hear it right here on 102.5 The Game. Is it the Tide or is it the Tigers, Nick Frazier?
It is the Tide. And I think the Tide are going to bring their A game. Pun intended, because the A is the logo. Yeah, I'm dumb. It's not a good joke.
Bring
you know how you
A
tell the
game.
difference between the Braves A and the Alabama A?
What is that?
The Alabama A has a mullet.
Oh, a little party involved with it.
Wow.
Love that. Yeah, no, I'm taking Alabama. I think this is going to be more of I'd say near 10-point game for a margin of victory. You guys mentioned that Alabama scores a lot of points, and I don't know. I think Auburn's hitting a little bit of a slump. I don't know what it is. Just something about that game they played against Florida last weekend. It just rubbed me the wrong way.
I'm going to go Auburn. I think Bruce Pearl goes in there. I think their defense is going to give Alabama some issues. I'm going to go with the Tigers getting it done on the road.
I'll go Alabama. I think Auburn not moving whatsoever in the latest poll at number 1 after losing to Florida at home. I think that pisses Bama off a little bit. They know they should be number 1. It's a rivalry game. They're playing at home. I think I said it in the last segment. Mark Sears is going to have a good day. Give me Bama. I think they win by 3.
Jake Wallman?
Alabama is 17-0 when they score 85 or more points.
Wow. That's a good stat.
Yeah, I saw it on game day. So credit to those guys. I think Auburn tries to muck this one up a lot. Get Bama to play more of their style of basketball, keep this game in like the 50s or 60s, because I don't know if Auburn can get up there with Alabama in that 85 to 90 point range.
Yeah.
So I dislike Auburn, but I dislike Alabama more. I wish this was a game where the game could end in a tie and then the fans burn the stadium down.
He hopes both teams have fun.
I hope they both lose.
I'm going to pick Auburn.
All right. So we're split on both.
Wow.
Competitive picks
This
today.
might be the first time we've ever done this.
Yeah. Usually there's at least one where we get 3.
Everyone picked the same wild card.
Yeah.
Go.
Wild card. Where are we going? Connor Newt.
Not only is it the Iron Bowl today in basketball, it's the Egg Bowl in basketball. Mississippi State and Ole Miss playing
Frazier.
I'm blanking, Oxford. I think Ole Miss gets it done this time. Ole Miss playing at home. They're playing a lot better basketball than Mississippi State is right now. Ole Miss is favored by 3.5. I think they cover with flying colors.
Wow.
I think they win by 8.
All right. Going with the Rebs. Nick Frazier.
Headed out in Australia to the NRL for the week 2 of preseason. My Brisbane Broncos take on the Gold Coast Titans away. Say Broncos get it done tonight.
Wow.
Around
Going with the
10:30.
Ballyhoos.
Yeah, the Broncos, not the Ballyhoos.
The Valley. Where did the Ballyhoos start?
Max Hers, right?
Yeah, the Ballyhoos.
yeah.
I said the South Sydney Rabbitohs. He goes, oh, the Ballyhoos. I'm like, that's not it. So, yeah, Broncos win by 10. Yep.
USA.
I didn't want to take it from you. I knew you were
USA. I'm going with the Americans beating the Canadians. 4 nations face off tonight. 7:00 puck drop from Montreal. I think America gets it done. Scored 6 back on Thursday against Finland. I think they have another big performance. The Kachuk brothers. Help of the Americans to the win.
And now it's just syrup, right?
Yes. Yeah. Just bacon too.
Go ahead. I'm heading up I-65, or was it I-24 to Bowling Green, 100 miles of hate.
Yeah.
Round 2. Middle blue Western out in round 1 of this one. Western's reeling. They got blown out at Kennesaw State. Tough loss at Jacksonville State. Give me the Blue Raiders.
All right.
Christian Skelton wants me to make a 500 pick.
Oh, yeah.
That's
Who's winning the 500?
The 500s this weekend. I don't even know. Denny Hamlin, I guess.
Shot in the dark.
Because he's the one I hear say on the radio the most.
Yeah, I mean, Chase Elliott. Can I go Chase Elliott? I don't know.
That's a good pick.
Where's Chase McCabe? I need his help.
Yeah, I don't know. Yes, Daytona 500. You can listen to the Xfinity race today on 94.9 The Fan at 3:30, and then the 500 tomorrow. It is on Sports Talk 8:30, starting at 12:30, and then it'll join in progress after Vanderbilt baseball against UC Irvine. Guys, good to have the gang back together for a full show here.
Yes, it was.
Felt good.
I'm going to be out next week. But I'm glad we got all 4 of us here for this one. Been a fun show. Coming up next, Vanderbilt men's basketball at Tennessee. Kevin Ingram and Tim Thompson are on the call as the Commodores and Vols face off. And don't forget, you can tune into Auburn and Alabama later on today, as well as Vanderbilt baseball against Nebraska. But again, coming up next, Doors, Vols, round 2, men's basketball from Knoxville, right after this, here on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
See ya.